kind of switching it again, no flow to this. What's in your refrigerator?
Wow. I am not a big cooker, right? So there's some seaweed.
Okay. Seaweed. Okay.
There's some seaweed, and I am a huge addict to sauce. Okay. I love condiments, so my refrigerator is filled with. I'm a huge ranch dressing guy, right? Like I have a variety of ranch dressing. I mean, I joke around sometimes that food is really nothing more than a ranch delivery device, right? It's like pizza for me is not pizza. Pizza is a ranch delivery device. And so I would say the vast majority of what is in my fridge is sauce and condiments. I tend to stay away from milk, so I drink, chocolate soy milk.
Right.
I'm a big dork that way.
Yeah, that's, we're both from the Northwest. I think that's a Northwest thing, the ranch thing, because I could put ranch on peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Absolutely. There's nothing you can't put ranch on. If they could deep fry ranch at a carnival, I would be so in. I mean, if you can
we should work on that.
Yeah, I mean, if there are people that will buy a deep fried pickle or a deep fried Twinkie or a deep fried Snickers bar, why can there not be something ranch?
We might want to be able to work on that.
You guys don't take that idea. www.friedranch.com.
Oh, that's right. Go buy it. That's funny. So let's talk about spending. What do you just love to spend money on? Like me, I'm such a girl when it comes to shoes and sunglasses. I'll buy shoes till I love shoes. I mean, I absolutely love shoes, and I love cool sunglasses.
So I'm going to start calling you Ms. Marcos.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm not that bad. We don't have a house big enough yet. So what's your thing? What's your thing you're going to spend money on no matter what?
I am a big dork.
Okay.
I'm a big dork, and going back to I love tools. I mean, if somebody, for Christmas, all I ask for is for money. Not because I go buy a bunch of stuff, but I want to buy the latest Twitter tool, or I want to buy the big Facebook tool. And I'm the first one to say I lose more money or I spend wastefully more money on tools. But for me, it's all about learning. I mean, that's what really just gets my blood flowing. I am not a clothes guy at all. I'm not a car guy. Like, I drive this beater car,
right.
And everyone was like, when are you going to get a new car? It's all about perception and fake it till you make it. It's like, I have the money to go buy a car. I just don't care about a car. I mean, the last two cars I bought were on complete impulse. My best friend wanted to go to buy a truck, and I went in, and I was negotiating for the truck, and I said, well, do we get a better deal if we buy two? And the guy said, huh? And I walked right out in the parking lot. I said, show me the used cars. And the current car I'm driving. I walked out in the parking lot, and they had like 20 used cars at this lot. And I said, oh, I like that red one. Okay, we'll take that red one too. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, does it run? And I said, sign us up. We'll take them both. Where do we go? And he's like, I can't even put you in this car unless you at least test drive it. So I got in, I put it in reverse, I backed out of the parking lot, out of the parking space, put it back in the parking, but I said, I'm done. I'm in.
Works.
Yeah, and the car before that, I won in a craps game in Las Vegas. So I've just, those kind of material things, I'm not a big spender in that. I spend more stuff on myself in terms of learning and books and tapes and CDs and seminars.
Stuff, yeah. No, that's good. Well, here's a good question. I can't wait for this answer either.
Oh, jeez.
So, in your opinion, what's wrong with you?
Wow. Well, now it's time to sit down and chat. No, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with me.
Okay.
I'm pretty secure in who I am. I'm pretty secure in my skin. I can tell you what people write on evaluation forms.
I don't care about that.
No, I mean, I tend to go across the line. I tend to be a little, in jokes, I sometimes go a little too far.
Okay.
I am who I am, and people can either like it or not, and I'm cool with that. I don't think there's a whole lot wrong with me, to be honest. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's totally cool with me because I don't think everybody else, they're not my cup of tea. I'm just,
Should have named this Stump the Speaker.
Yeah, exactly. That one threw me.
So on the other end, what are you great at in your business? What do you go in and you tell your self-talk is like, you know what? There's probably nobody better than me at this.
I think that's really easy for me. One of the things that I use as my mantra, and we kind of talked about in the beginning, is my strength is to deliver to the audience, whatever that audience is, whether it's you and I talking, whether it's the folks watching this on tape, or an audience that's in a room that's paid money to watch, is can I deliver to that audience more than they expect? Can I give them stuff that they can use today? Right? So I am not a speaker that likes to tease out the audience and I'm going to sell you a $5,000 program, but I'm only going to give you $50 worth of content. I'm actually going to give you $50,000 worth of content and try to sell you something for $50. And that may be a good model. It may not be a good model. But for me, it's about making the audience get something more than what they expected.
Good.
In whatever I do.
Yeah, and I can say, because we are personal friends, that is absolutely true about you. Absolutely. You do get it.
And it's to a fault on some level.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you talk to like business coaches or people that I work that are a part of my inner circle in terms of creation and contracts and that kind of stuff, I always err on the side of I want them to get more because they'll be taken care of later.
Right.
And that sometimes is a fault because sometimes that can screw you over, and you kind of just gotta go, well, I kind of asked for it. It's kind of the bitch, you know.
Yeah.
The other thing I can go back to what's wrong with me is sometimes I am not that great at taking criticism. I'm cool with people giving me suggestions or feedback. I'm not always the best at criticism.
Right.
You know, and sometimes when people criticize me, I hold on to it and I keep it really personalized because I give so much of my person to who I am that when somebody attacks that or I view it as an attack, it may not be.
Right.
I don't always handle it the best.
No, it can't be perfect.
I know, right?
So, let's say we jump in the car and we go over to your house. Is it clean or is it dirty?
Clean.
Clean.
Well, that's only because the cleaning lady came yesterday. Here's the thing.
But I'm just saying, even if she didn't, it's normally clean, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's really weird. I mean, that's actually a really funny question because it's situationally clean.
Okay.
Right? I hate laundry.
Right.
It just drives me crazy. I don't like doing laundry. I don't like anything about it.
Just putting the clothes on and taking them off. That's
Exactly. And I can throw them on the floor, and I don't have any problem throwing a pair of clothes throwing clothes on the floor. But the chore that I love doing is the dishes. Brian, I don't understand it either. But here's what I love. I love staring at just a big mess in the sink and knowing that I can work through that bit by bit and eventually it's going to be clean. The reason I hate laundry is I have ADD, and so for me, the problem with laundry is you make these piles all over the floor, and then it takes all day for you to complete the task. Whereas with the dishes, I can have them done in like 20 minutes.
Right. Well, you are a dork.
Yeah, I'm instant gratification.
I didn't know about that. Yeah, I mean, I knew your ADD, but okay. Look, a squirrel. So we talked about cars. I know you're not materialistic on cars, but let's just say your dream car, no money involved.
2000 Nissan NSX.
Okay. What color?
Silver.
Why?
One of those deals. I don't know why.
You just want it?
It's one of those. It's a car that I've just always liked.
Right.
You know, and I have to say that if practicality were not involved, not that an NSX is all that practical, but my first car was a brand spanking, brand newly restored 1965 289 red Mustang. You know, and it was, I spent years putting this thing together. I bought the car when I was 14 and spent the next 2 years earning money to have the thing restored. And so for me, if I could go back and own a car that I didn't have to drive every day, it would be a Mustang.
That's cool. Yeah.
But I'm an environmentalist too, so, you know, anything that runs on electricity or, you know, water, French fry oil, whatever.
Electric Mustang?
Yeah, an electric 1965 Mustang. Or one that runs on like French fry grease.
Yeah. Or you could just actually potatoes. You could just stick.
There you go. Boom, Shazam.
You go to McDonald's for a refill. It'd be cheaper than gas.
There you go. Number 3, knowing is no pickle side of tartar.
Yeah, they're in ranch.
Exactly.
Well, let me ask you this: who is somebody that you would like to spend the day with and just pick their brain? Somebody that you just like. You're kind of enamored or in awe of?
That's a great question, and I want to just take a step to the side with it because I actually hate the term "pick their brain."
Okay.
And the reason I have such kind of this weird version of that pick the brain is I think that's one of the things going back where I think people have lost touch. You know, both you and I get people all the time saying, hey, I want to take you to lunch to pick your brain. Well, I wouldn't ever want to take somebody to lunch to pick their brain. What I would want to do is take them to lunch, provide them more value than I think they're going to give me, or teach them something that they can then teach me what they know. So I'm much more about an exchange of knowledge. So people like Donald Trump, right now I don't agree with all the politics and stuff, but Donald Trump is a guy that, like him or not, he is one of the best marketers on the planet. Mm-hmm. He understands the business world. He understands the loopholes in the business world. He understands publicity. He is a multi-billionaire in multiple industries, you know, whether it's real estate, television, you know, owning Miss Universe, whatever. So Trump would be one. Robert Kiyosaki would be one. My two grandfathers, both from complete opposite ends of the spectrum, grew up in the Depression. One's a farmer, one's an entrepreneur. Boy, let's see, you know, I would love to talk to and sit down with our current president, Barack Obama. Not from a political perspective, but here's somebody who is the first African American president, the highest, and I can't even imagine the pressure that has to go through. I mean, talk about managing different situations. And quite frankly, I just want to see if I could ride on Air Force One because I think it'd be cool.
I knew there was something to it.
I mean, those are the kind of people, I mean, I like to, you know, I mean, honestly, I mean, and this is going to sound a bit goofy, and again, I don't mean it from a political purpose, but, you know, I love women that have figured out how to market themselves or create a publicity around them that is unmatched. So the three that come to mind are someone like a Madonna, who, like her music or not, is amazing at reinventing herself and giving back to the world. Someone new on the scene like Lady Gaga, who is right now ripping it up, again, from a marketing perspective and just what she stands for. And then on the kind of the opposite end, someone like a Sarah Palin, who, you know, again, not from a political perspective, but here's somebody who kind of got thrust into a situation that she didn't really have a whole lot of control over. Now, she can help kind of steer that and navigate it, but it would just be interesting to sit down where there aren't cameras around and, you know, really ask her what newspaper she reads and hope that she can answer the question. Right? Yeah. You know? So those are the types of people that I'd want to sit down and chat with.
Okay, well, this next question you weren't too happy about, but you didn't say not to ask you, but I think I can kind of answer it for you. I was going to ask you, who do you have a crush on? It sounds like you have a crush on Barack Obama and Air Force One.
Well, actually, you know what? I mean, here's the funny thing is, I am so attracted to people's minds and how they work. And so when you and I were talking about that question, I for those of you that don't know, I said to Brian, like, one might make me a bit weird, but, you know, someone that I have a crush on, and again, it's because of her mind, is Lady Gaga. You know, I mean, anybody that can pull off going to the Grammys wearing a meat dress.
Yeah.
I mean, and let's face it, with meat, you have béarnaise sauce that you can put on it, you have ranch, you have reduction sauces. Right. But really, someone like that has such a grasp of who they are and can navigate that. You know, another person, I was just watching an interview with Beyonce on CNN the other night, and just listening to her answer the question, I'm just really turned on by people's mind and how they think. You know, I guess you could say I have a boy crush on Cedric Harris, who's a great friend of mine, one of the best internet marketers I've ever met. Great friend. And just sitting in and talking to him, it's not almost so much a crush, but that's when my neurons.
It's like a fascination.
Yeah, it's like neurons just start going. And when you can start engaging in somebody and all of a sudden you find yourself playing at a higher level,
absolutely,
it just drives me. I mean, same with you and Clint. Getting to the three of us on the phone, you know, back and forth, the three of us are to the point where we're almost interrupting each other at every sentence. And that's the kind of stuff that just completely turns me on. So that's the kind of crush, I guess, that I would...
Yeah, that's good. I like it. Coolest place you ever been?
Wow.
I love it when he stops.
Well, it's because I've led a very cool life. I mean, I've got to do a lot of things. I've seen a lot of the world from the movie business and the amusement park world, and just kind of in network marketing when I was in that world, just all over the place. I can remember a specific moment that I actually said, "This is a perfect moment," and that was I was on a cruise to the Bahamas, and it was the first time I'd ever been snorkeling, and we were in this bay. And the snorkel guides had said, if you go out past the reef, be careful because it's deep and there are currents. And I was out there with two friends, and we were snorkeling, and I looked down, and now I'm a bit of an exaggerator, so I may say this and it may sound corny, but to me it's real. About 100 feet down, I saw an 8-foot stingray. I mean, this thing was so, at least I imagine it to be that big. I mean, it was so huge. And I just remember popping up, and we all of a sudden popped up. And I remember that it was a Wednesday when this occurred. And all I could come up with when we opened up brought us out of the screen was I took my goggles off and I said, "Hi, thank you for calling Sprint. How may I provide you horrible customer service?" And it was, and it was really a dialogue and like, look how cool we have it. We have great situations. We're sitting here in the Bahamas. We're in our skivvies, out snorkeling. We're seeing these huge stingrays out in the Bahamas. I mean, that was probably one of the coolest places I've been.
That's awesome. That's a great story. I'm a food fanatic. I love great food. Clinton loves great food. What's your favorite restaurant, or what's been your best food experience?
Oh, wow. There's a difference between what's the best food and the best food experience. But we're gonna keep it clean. We're gonna keep it clean. There's a restaurant here in Los Angeles that makes the best sloppy Joe.
Really?
And crisp-cut fries with a homemade Thousand Island dressing. And to me, I love that. I love that. And, it's funny that you bring up food because this is one of those things that is a big part of who I am. I eat out a lot at restaurants. And one of the things that always strikes me is when people say, well, where do you want to go eat? And my response is always, I don't care, I'm up for anything. Because I know that it's only one meal, and if somebody else can get to pick where their favorite restaurant is, I want to go experience those. So for me, it's more about the experience of who I'm with, more than it is some sort of food. Right. Again, going back to ranch, a good pizza. We had pizza today. Pizza was awesome. I just don't, going back to even earlier questions with like material and cars and that kind of stuff, is that for me, I just don't get, I'll risk this, but I don't get that involved or that passionate or that attached to things or meals or experiences. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I've traveled around the world in the movie business. I've got to experience a lot of things that if I sat down and started saying, how many of you have been at this event, to this event, to this? I mean, so I've lived a lot of that, and for me, it's just part of who I am. So I'm not a big peak and valley guy. I try to keep it all on the same playing field, or on the same sort of line there.
Level.
Yeah, but like this or like this if you're watching.
Yeah, there you go. Uphill a little bit.
Yeah, just a tiny bit.